Hey everybody, my name is Carmen Shenk and I'm the Tiny House Foodie, and I'm here in the Tiny House Foodie kitchen to talk to you today about kitchen gadgets. Now it's December and Christmas is right around the corner. What do you give someone who lives in a tiny house? That's a difficult question to answer. How about if they happen to be a foodie? Well, what if you know somebody who's living off-grid? Here are some, let me just talk about some of the gadgets that I have, and maybe that'll give you some ideas. So I'm going to start here. Now I remember this from my youth. This is a pastry cutter. So instead of making pie dough by using a food processor, you just use this in a bowl, use the edge of the bowl, and you just cut the shortening with this instead of using a food processor. So this is a good tool, off-grid, cordless, powerless, a person-powered pastry cutter. Very old school and very effective. I think these run about $10, okay? Not a big investment. So for somebody who loves to make pastries, pies and that sort of thing, that might be a gift that they might already have or not, I don't know. This is, I think, a really cool thing. And it comes with this plastic sleeve. And the idea being, it's a microplane, the idea being that you grate your cheese and that it fills up in the back here. Here's the thing. I think it's great. But you know what? It's no more expensive to buy cheese already grated. And I think that might explain why I haven't used this. So if a microplane was on your idea list, no. It hasn't been that helpful. Do you know what this is? Shh, hold it down back there. Okay, this is a off-grid immersion blender, commonly referred to as an egg beater. Okay, so you beat your eggs with it and you're not using any power. It takes very little space to hang in the kitchen. It's the perfect kind of small space, off-grid kind of tool that really works well. I actually use this quite a bit. Eggs, anything that you would use a small handheld mixer for when you don't, mind having a little workout yourself with it. It's pretty amazing. It's not always the easiest thing to clean, but then any kind of mixer, beaters things, it's going to be a little tricky to clean anyway. So I think this is a really cool one. You can find them in antique stores, the problem being that they're usually rusty somewhere and looking kind of gross. So this happens to be a new model, nicely stainless steel or chrome. So if you've been downsizing for long, you have already gotten rid of your food processor and maybe you replaced it with a box grater, or maybe you purchased a mandolin. Now mandolins are great. You can take your cucumber and make these perfect little slices, or there's sometimes a specialty blade. You can choose the thickness. These are great. The good ones are usually in the neighborhood of $150 to $180. So, it's just kind of one of those things. But in the restaurant, even though we had the great big food processor, the chef was more likely to use that because it was easier to get out, it was easier to use, and it was easier to clean and store. So that's a pretty good option, but still, in a tiny house situation, you may not even have room for that. So here is kind of a hybrid product that I really like. Now, it's a box, and you open the box, and the lid becomes the base. There are 4 blades, and you put the blade in there, like so, and then you grate the cheese or the carrots or whatever it is. There are 2 grater blades, okay? And then there is a specialty blade for cutting carrots for salad. And then there is a mandolin blade, just very simple. So, and they all store away in this neat box. And of course there is the thing that keeps you from slicing your fingertips off. And that's kind of handy as well. So I think that's kind of a pretty cool multi-use tiny house kitchen idea, is to get the to get this hybrid creature where all of the blades, well, not all, I mean, you know, obviously a nice food processor is going to have a few more blade choices, but for what most people use, this is still a really good choice. So as you are in the process of going tiny, those are things to consider. Downsizing from your food processor to maybe a box grater and a mandolin if you like, or maybe going all the way to this kind of small, compact, hybrid product that might replace your food processor altogether. You won't be unhappy about it either because it's taking less space and less power. Got a food allergy to gluten, or you're on the paleo diet or the Whole30 or the immune protocol diet, any of those are going to cut you off of grains completely. So this is your little friend. And I have used a lot of spiral cutters over the years. Many of them, if you can buy the $450 version, and who can, you know, then this is actually a pretty good alternative. You stick the zucchini in and turn. And it's just like sharpening a pencil, and it pops out zucchini noodles right here is one side. Stick them in the other end to get a different size zucchini noodle. Use carrots, sweet potatoes, zucchini, squash, butternut, whatever. You put it in here in the end, turn. It even comes with this handy pusher thingy, so you don't have to risk cutting your fingers on that. So I think these things are about between $10 and $12. This is a great way to get gluten out of your spaghetti. And I think it's a pretty cool thing to be able to take your vegetables up a notch. This is a ricer. This happens to be kind of an antique model. They are available. I saw one on Williams & Sonoma for about 50 bucks. And you put your potatoes in the top, your potatoes or cauliflower or whatever you wish, and you turn, and out of the bottom rains rice, basically. It looks like rice. And so from there you can continue pureeing it and squishing it all up like for mashed potatoes, or you can enjoy it in its little form as rice, especially if you are on one of those diets where rice is not an option. So this is a very handy off-grid food processor. It works great for root vegetables and anything that you would like to puree without a big appliance that you have to store and without power. So it is people powered, and that is fantastic. Now let me see, what else have I forgotten here? Okay. So one of our happy little friends in Tiny House is a tea kettle. Believe it or not, we don't keep a coffee machine of any sort. No French press, none of that stuff. We don't have a coffee machine, and tea. For a tea bag, we use, oh, I've got it. You can't see over there with my dirty dishes, but it's over there. And so some sort of little strainer works great if you're using tea. Now Xavier puts his grounds in the bottom of a cup, pours hot, super hot water on top of the grounds, and by the time the coffee grounds settle to the bottom, he has this marvelous rich cup of coffee, and you drink all but the last gritty bit, and that's Tiny House coffee. It could not be simpler, and it's basically French press without the gear, without the pricey gear. So a tea kettle is a really good idea for somebody who's going tiny. So I hope this little list of things, let's see, is there anything else I can think of? No, I think, you know, a couple of wooden spoons, a slotted spoon, a pair of scissors. I think that's about it. Those are my favorite little kitchen gadgets that we've managed to keep even through the whole tiny house experience. And it will help you go off grid, and it will help you make food that is, how would you say? It's like a throwback to another era when food was good, and when instead of being made fast, it was made well. And it's a reminder to cook with love and not with speed, and to really put every bit of yourself into the process. So I'm Carmen Shenk, the Tiny House Foodie, and I hope this has helped you think about what you would give a tiny house person, or what you would downsize to if you were considering becoming a tiny house person yourself. So in the meantime, remember that you can live tiny, you can enjoy simplicity, and you can eat really, really well. You may not believe that you can go tiny, but I know you can. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.